Well, we're back, and I've got a wonderful starting guest for us. She's an author, and her name is Olivia Ostergaard. Welcome, Olivia. We're so glad to have you, dear.
Thank you so much, Carol. It's nice to be here.
You have a wonderful book. I can see here it says Looking at the Unseen, and we'll show that better later. But tell us a little bit about how did you decide to write this book?
Well, first of all, I felt I had a story to share. It took me nearly 10 years to get my current guide dog, Fenway, who's over to my left, your right, from the viewer's point of view. And I went through an incredible journey of how God literally led me through His Word and circumstances to find the right dog that was the right dog for me, that I knew He had planned for me all along.
Wow.
And it was not an easy journey at all as you get into the book and stuff. It starts out where I'm at church, and I was using a cane back in those days, and I'd been using a cane for over 32 years. Mm-hmm. And I tripped over a cement pylon at church, fell back, and hit my head on a bumper of a car. Oh. And my little 3-year-old boy at the time could just stand there and look. So after that happened, it was like, okay, Liv, you've got to do something. This is not working. So that's where the whole process started.
So what possibly led you to find this dog that you have?
Well, first of all, I have some dear friends. Actually, the husband has passed on. Ed and Tony Ames. Mm-hmm. They have been adjunct professors at Fresno State for years. Ed passed on in 2009, and I did mention that in the book also as well, mm-hmm. because I chronicled through getting my dog and the first year of having him, and what it was like and that kind of stuff. When I got home from tripping, I came home and I got on the phone and I called them up and I said, Ed, I've got a problem. And I told him what happened, and he said, have you thought about a guide dog? I said, not until now. And so he gave me, they had written a couple of books. One is called Partners for Independence, and the other one is called A Guide to Guide Dog Schools, mm-hmm. Both from Simon & Schuster, and I'm not sure if they're both out of print anymore or not. But they are available on Talking Books if we have any blind viewers that get Talking Books from the Talking Book Library. So I read those books, and I started making a list of guide dog schools. And the first school was, and I'm having to change the name because of liability issues, which I had to do in the book as well, was Southwestern Guide Dogs. Or was it Southeastern? Mm-hmm. Anyway, it was in another part of California. I had applied to 3 or 4 schools. That was one of them. Another one was Leader Dogs, which I ended up taking that off my list. The Seeing Eye in Morristown, which everybody knows that one, and then of course Guide Dogs in San Rafael. And anyway, they started out with the application process. You have to have a complete physical. They want to know your visual acuity, and they have a representative from the school that comes out to your home, and they make you go through travel, which is with a cane, where you, and I should have brought my cane with me, but I didn't think of it today. They make you see how you do going down sidewalks, crossing the street, mm-hmm. That type of thing. Yeah. If you're not proficient with cane mobility, you have to wait until you're proficient in that before a guide dog school will even consider you for a guide dog. And you can have either total sight loss, or in my case, you're legally blind, where I have about 5% in my left eye and nothing in my right. Mm-hmm. That was due to the fact that I was a preemie back in the day, back in the early 50s. And in those days, they didn't have the isolettes that they do now. I weighed 1.5 pounds at birth and went down to 14 ounces. I was the smallest baby in Kern County to survive at that time. I was born and raised in Bakersfield, so I'm a Valley girl.
Great.
Yeah. So The first school to come out was Morristown, and the guy said, well, you've got too much residual vision. And, okay, fine. And I had talked to several guide dog friend users of mine that I knew, and they told me horror stories about one of the schools, and I crossed them off my list. And then I applied to guide dogs in San Rafael, and they turned me down.
Huh?
And then the one Southwestern, they came out and brought their gal out and stuff, and they accepted me, and I went to their program in '02.
Great.
So, but again, this was one of God's plans. They were going through some major issues at the time.
Right.
And the dog and I did not click. I was there about 2 weeks, and they let me go.
Oh, what, are they real, like puppies at first? Or
No, they're not. They usually, what happens is, and this is true for all of the schools, the guide dog, or excuse me, the puppy raisers that are raising a puppy, they will have the puppy from about 8 weeks to about 16 to 18 months. They have very strict criteria that they have to go through. There's about 8 to 10 things that they have to be proficient in, the dog does.
So you were just about to get your walking dog, your helper dog, or
Guide dog.
a guard dog, sure. Go ahead and tell me about that.
Well, I had been, I left off where I was at my first school. The dog and I didn't click, and everybody else went to Disneyland and left me there at the school by myself, and all they gave me was a walkie-talkie.
Oh,
And I was there from about 6 to 8 hours. And I was really scared because it was, the only ones that came in and out were the maintenance people.
oh yeah.
And anyway, I got home. They took me to the airport, and I got home and everything. And so it's like, okay, I'm crossing these guys off my list. Well, I reapplied to Beachside, which was the name I gave for another school. And anyway, they turned me down. They came out and interviewed me, and they said, no, you can't walk 8 to 16 blocks, so no way. And the first school I had to sort of reapply for them, wait some time, and they wanted me to go back and take some mobility training, cane mobility training, which I was very rusty on, so I did. That took about 9 months, and then I did the interview in '03 or '04, I think it was '04. And anyway, they turned me down. Beachside turned me down.
Oh my gosh.
And so I was coming out of Bible study one day, and my girlfriend said to me, hey, Liv, did you hear about Southwestern? And I said, no, what happened? Oh, they're going under. What? Because I'd been waiting for them to contact me to go, find out when I was going to go back and try another dog again. Well, I got on the horn and I called them, and they said, yeah, we're having some financial difficulties. And they've been having it off and on for years. In fact, I'm surprised they're still open, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, Lord, now what do I do? And I, kept seeking His will and seeking the scriptures and stuff, and called Ed and Tony, and they said, have you thought of New Vision? And I said, no, where's that at? And they told me it was down south. So, okay. So anyway, I applied to them, and they came out, and Mike Burkholst, who was their trainer, came out and visited with me and everything, and that's not his real name, but I had to change all these names and stuff, for liability issues, of course.
Yeah,
You know how that goes. And he came out and he said, oh yeah, we can fix you up. So I went in '05, and I got my first dog. Her name was Zumi. She was a black lab, and I had her for about 3 years. Second day I got home, she pulls me down, knocks me down when I'm going out to take her out to relieve.
No.
Oh yeah, she liked to hunt squirrels and chase birds and all that good stuff. And this went on. Besides, she liked to jump up and grab people's food off their plate. And after about 2 or 3 years of this, I said, that's it, I'm done, I can't deal with this anymore. And I gave her back.
Oh.
And then I went back to a year later and got Fenway. And he was exactly what I needed.
Oh, well, he's gorgeous. He's so beautiful. Big black cloud.
Yep.
Gosh. Well, I guess that when you something that the right thing comes to you, it's just like a spiritual present or something.
Yes, absolutely. I tell people all the time, God literally gave me this dog. And he did.
I'm sure.
He did.
And you tell all of that in this book.
Yes. Yes.
So I know that once you know how many gifts you're given every day, people don't sometimes pay attention to the fact that these good things are coming into their life, and that's a gift.
Yes.
And I'm sure that you
Yes.
feel the same way
Oh,
about
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I hear people on the bus all the time, they'll say, oh, well, you're blind and blah, blah, blah. I said, hey, listen, guys, compared to eternity, this is nothing. This is Easter week, folks, remember? So, that's how I think about it, and it's no big deal to me. I think being deaf is worse.
that. Oh, I think so. I'm just so blessed that I can hear and see, thank God. Of course, I got an operation in my eyes, and it was like a whole new life. A whole new life just appears before you, and you can see it again. Anyway, Olivia, thank you so much in coming in and being with us and telling us your story. It's really interesting in this book. It's got to be interesting, so buy the book.
Can I mention about my book signing?
Oh, yes. Do
Okay.
that.
I will be at the Lifeway Christian Store on Saturday, April the 9th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Come on out and get a copy of the book and meet me and the dog and have a good time.
That would be a fabulous thing to do, and to get the book signed by the author is always very thrilling. So thank you, honey, for coming in today, and we know it's going to be a wonderful book signing.
Thank you.
Here you go. And we'll be right back.